I think International Women's Day, we celebrate the successes of those that have come before us and made the path for some of us a lot easier. So as a girl, I'm very fortunate that my parents believed in school, that I could do whatever I wanted and excel in whatever I wanted. So I never wanted to disappoint them. I was actually very, very good at school. And growing up in a family of entrepreneurs as well, I think has made my life so much easier because the belief that you don't have to become a doctor, you don't have to become a lawyer, you can become who you are, whether I wanted to model, whether I wanted to sing, whether I wanted to own my business. So I think for me, I was not a naughty child and still not a naughty child. So that's very important, even to my siblings, being a good sister, a loving sister, to my nieces and nephews, my sister's children, my brother's children, trying to be a great tete in instilling good values to them that, stay away from boys, you're too young, focus on education. But at the same time, you can be what you want to be. I mean, don't let the negativity surround them. Unfortunately, they're growing around with the social media that has got unnecessary pressures on them as young kids. So I tell them, look, you don't have to follow that per se. But if you believe in what you want to become, you can become that. Like I said before, we are very fortunate that women have shown us that you can be a CEO, you can be a mother, you can be a director of a company, and that's just made it so much easier on us, and then we can follow that. And then, not yet a wife, not yet a mother, but in business, I really like to recruit women. More so, I'm more for the youth because I feel like in Australia, where I worked as an accountant, the playing field is a bit fair. There's not too much of a discrepancy between middle class and you're really rich. I mean, you can still afford a house, you can afford a car, you can really grow in your career from internship to managerial to supervisor to partner level. However, in Zim, I feel like we're still far from that, and Africa in general, because we've got youth that are graduating at the moment, but they're not able to get jobs. They have not been able to use an ATM card. They've not been able to open a bank account. So what can we do this International Women's Day to highlight some of these very important questions? They've literally lost hope that they'll ever own a house, and unfortunately they're then turning to marriage thinking that's the only way they can secure a very viable future. So what I do with the Empowered Women, I tend to get women, we go there, we inspire them, because we are going to work with Chiedza's Children's Home next month. We've got some executives that will give them talks, and then, the lady told me that one girl, O levels, who was doing very, very well. She had actually really passed the O levels. They kept calling, come get your results, come get your results, only to find she's not coming because she's just had a baby. And the husband, okay, maybe not the husband, the baby daddy has literally run away from her. So as much as the first world has progressed, and I'm really proud of them, what are we doing in Africa to make the level field very equal as well? I mean, right now we probably have one or two women that are leading companies listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. We don't have a lot of women. And why is that? In 2024, is this where we wanted to be in 2024? Our careers, even when you go to a lot of companies, management is mainly men. We've got very few women. It's almost like they pushed out. Are they not equipped enough? Like, what do we need to do differently? Do we need to be playing golf as women together, or do we need to have our own set of ways of doing things? So I think it's still a question that it still baffles me as to why we're still where we are at. And right now I can tell you, I'm turning 33 in April, so I'm 32. No one really celebrates my accomplishments as a businesswoman, but everyone keeps asking me, when am I getting married? When am I having children? But I'm like, can you not see everything else that I am doing? So do you ask men the same questions? Like, why are you 35 and you're still not married? It's like, no, take your time, find a good woman. But for me, it's almost like, why don't you just have a child by yourself? You're growing old, and why do you take someone who you can groom? But a man is not told to take someone that they can groom. They're being told to find their equal. So a lot of us in my age group, we've got that dilemma that people are being put under necessary pressure to then get married, to then get children. And it also then affects their careers. It also then affects their businesses, because if you get married to someone who's not compatible to you, that's definitely not going to work out. So, I think we still also need to discuss that. Like we said, people celebrate baby showers, they celebrate weddings. However, when it comes to businesses, we don't have business showers, we don't have that. So, as much as I am quite happy with where we are headed, I still think a lot needs to be done for us to be on the equal playing field as men. I think it might start in the home, Nyari. Why I say that is a lot of these women, up to now, if we go to rural areas, if we go to high density areas, their fathers don't expect much from them, but to just marry them off. So, for the poverty perspective, I think it starts with the home to encourage their children because women are getting married off for one goat as we speak. So, if we started off with them, because if we look at the stats that women that come from very well off backgrounds, they continue to excel because their parents believe in us. They tell us to go to the best universities, the best schools. But when we're looking at less privileged, they just sold off. So I think that's going to have to start in the home. The dads, particularly mothers, I think they really want their children because they don't want the children to go through what they went through. So I think the dads, if they could be understanding that no, my child really needs to go to school, let me sacrifice money instead of marrying them off. Whether there needs to be rules, because like sometimes when things change, Zimbabwe, there's SIs that are put around that we can't import maize, we can't import flour. So maybe we need to have those diversity, or whether we have an age legislation exactly put there that each company, if you are stock listed exchange company, we need 50% of senior management to be women. We need at least 40% of board representation to be women. And what are you doing to make sure women are advancing in their careers as a company? So I think legislation would really need to come through to also protect, and even companies as a whole. I think they really, really need to put that in the company policies and procedures to say, okay, this is what we're doing with women. Each month we've done a leadership course. Each year we've impacted 80% of women. This is how we have gone by. So I think if we all subconsciously do that, I think it will go wonders, to be honest. So to these women, obviously, like you're saying, you have to make tough decisions. I actually asked myself, had she gotten remarried, would we be where we are today? Because, like I said, there's now two decision makers in the home. Your husband might say, no, 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 she can't go to this school, to this private school. We don't have enough money. No, you can't take care of this person. We can't take care of that person. So sometimes it might be that decision of, I'm going to get married later. That's the decision I have made, to say I am going to get married later. I want to get my ducks set up in a row. If things don't work out, I can walk out of that marriage. I'm not stuck in there because things are not working out. And I'm actually seeing that happening a lot, that there's a lot of unhappy people in marriages right now. So, you really have to make those tough decisions as a woman, because also if you've got a husband, you might not be able to stay in the office late. You might not be allowed to go to work cocktails that we go to in the evenings because he's like, where are you going? So all those will also then impact how we are, because let's be honest, there's still this, we can't throw it away, the cultural aspect of what a woman should be in the home, especially when they've been married, etc. Not every man is understanding that, you know what, you can go and you can come home at 11 p.m. Not every man is understanding. So it might be those really tough decisions. And I think the ones that have gone above us, before us, have had to really make those extremely tough decisions. Even Dr. Terai Trent, she had already had like 5-6 kids already, because that was what her role was. So she then had to make a conscious decision that I am going to go to America regardless of what. I'm going to leave my kids. She had to make that sacrifice to leave her kids before, go get her PhD, and then bring her kids. She didn't know what was happening to her kids. Kids also get abused. So I think people that have really succeeded have had to make really tough choices, be it to leave your kids, be it to leave your marriage, be it, I don't think it's easy to get that balance, as people try to say. I don't know if it will ever be achievable, but I think one has got to give.